Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good to see everybody. Hey, Jersey, you number one in here tonight, girl. All right, there we go. Hey, PG and Chad. Hey, hey, hey to you. Legendary number two. Welcome in, everyone. Grab your drinks and snacks. It's PG time. Amen. Absolutely. Right? Good to see you, girl. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Hey, Robin. Hey, hey, PG and chat. Hey to you, girl. Much love. God bless. Good to see everybody. Miss Justice, number four. Robin, number three. All right. Much love, PG. Much love to you, girl. You know it. Hey, Brad. I appreciate that. Good evening, PG and little man. Much love. God bless. Prayers for Miss Norway. Prayers for everyone in the chat. Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Love and prayers for her as well. God bless. I really appreciate it, girl. That's beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let me get on down through here. Uh absolutely. Absolutely, Brett. I appreciate you putting that out there. Don, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Hey, Texas Blue. Looky there. PG, much love. Much love to you, girl. Much love to you. Hey, little PG. um, Prayers, much love, Mama PG, little man and family. Hey, girl. Prayers and much love to you too. You know it. Let's see. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Jessica, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Good to see you in here. Let me see. Oh, that's beautiful. Amen. Amen. Hey, Linda, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. I was trying to, I don't like to miss it. Just a small town girl. Hey, girl. Good to see you in here tonight, too. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? Hey, hey, hey to you. Lynn, good to see you. Caroline, how you doing, honey? Hello, sweet PG, baby boy mods, chat, and all. Oh, much love. Good to see you too tonight, girl. Good to see you in here. God bless. Uh, can people hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, CJ. Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me or no? Yes, yes, you can hear me. Okay. I guess this PG's little girl must not have no sound. I have my she's like, I have mine muted. Okay. AC, how you doing tonight? Sound is great. I appreciate that. The legendary. I appreciate you guys letting me know that you can hear me. God bless. Hey Robin, how you doing? Oh, I'm gonna tell you this lady right here. This lady right here, she's after my heart with that avatar. She's after PG's heart. I don't care. I love Trump. I love President Trump. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you. I love the fact that he stands up and he stands strong against evilness. He stands very strong. I mean, we need someone strong running our country. And he ain't afraid. He ain't afraid. God bless. God bless. All he's went through, all he's went through. I don't you know, I don't know what keeps him, you know. I don't know what keeps him there. He don't have to be there. He don't have to be there. But he is. You know, but he is. God bless him. Oh yeah. I think he's a beautiful human too. Yes, absolutely. Um and God fearing. And God fearing. That's what we need. We need God fearing people, you know, running this country. not, not people making it sound like it's okay to be all weird and shit. It's not okay to be weird. It's just not. Oh, that's the truth, right, Texas Blue? Oh, he sure does. He sure does. But PG's got to get off the politics. All right. PG's got to get off the politics. But I did want to mention, um, one thing when it comes to our country. It's not really about politics, it's about our country. And I'm going to tell you, a country should not ever help humans who want to see your demise, right? Why do you want to help people who wish nothing but the worst for you, right? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. You should help the people that, that don't wish bad on you. You should help the ones that need help, that, want to build you, not destroy you. People who want to when you help people who want to destroy you, you're only helping them get the job done faster, right? That's what you're doing. You're helping them get the job done faster. And that's just, that don't make no sense. That don't, make no sense to PG. It ain't rocket science. It's just everyday common sense. Something that it seems like a lot of humans in today's world don't have, right? A lot that people don't have. And I don't know where the hell common sense went. Obviously out the window. Along with time and, respect and love and caring and, and knowing how to help your own before you help others. People would rather, this is the awfulest thing in this world today, because I see it all the time. I wish I didn't, but I see it all the time, where people would rather anyone have something other than their family or their friends or their neighbors. I mean, they would rather anybody in the world. They don't really want it either. They're just jealous that another person has it. And that's just ungodly, And I think a lot of blessings pass these people up who are like that, I mean, if you'd rather see anybody have something other than the people around you, because, you're jealous or envious or whatever of these people, I think that a lot of blessings you could have had are gone. They fled you. I think if you want blessings, to stick to you, if you want God's blessings that's coming down out of heaven to stick to you, you've got to, stick with God. You got to stick with, wanting to see everyone around you do as good as you are or better. And then when you care about other people and you're happy that they got good things, and God will give you good things too. I don't think people have enough faith. I don't think they have enough faith. They're too busy, And I see it all the time. All the time I see it. And it makes me sad when I see stuff like that. Sometimes I see it, you know, I see it being put upon myself. Like I have family. I have family. If they get something, I'm ecstatic for them. I'm like, wow, that is so nice. I don't care if it's a house, a car, a new living room suit. I don't care what it is. I'm so happy for them. But if I promise you, if I get a mother freaking tin can, if I get a tin can that looks really nice, they're like, what did you need that for? What was you thinking when you bought that? And then they stare at it and make you feel like, you didn't even deserve that tin can, right? I'm like, wow, you're jealous of my freaking popcorn can? And I was ecstatic about you getting a brand new vehicle? Are you freaking kidding me? That's, why can't you just be happy that it's a beautiful can, right? And it wasn't even like I'm showing it off. Like they pulled their vehicle right up in front of my place saying, hey, look what I got. And, and I'm ecstatic for them. I didn't even, I didn't pull my popcorn can out and say, hey, look what I got. Ain't this beautiful? No, it was just sitting there, right? During the holiday. It's just sitting there. And it's like, where'd you get that? How much did that cost? What did you need that for? It's like, damn, dude. I needed it because it made me happy when I got it, but now I'm starting to dislike it because of you. Right? Think I might take it back. But that's the way people are. They should be happy for one another. They probably missing a lot of blessings. Being like that. I ain't like that. I don't want to be like that. Right? Hell no. I like what I like. And I like what other people like too. Right? I respect what other people, their taste. I respect other people's taste. I just like to have mine respected as well, right? Just saying. But anyway, yeah, that I wanted to talk about, when it comes to this country, I think people, they have turned on their own. That's what I'm trying to say. They've turned on their own. And we should never turn on our own. Our own should come first. Our own should come first and above all, right? That's what I'm trying to tell people. America should be for Americans. We should be for the red, white, and blue. We should respect all those people who gave their lives so we could have the freedom that we have today. All the people that gave their lives so that our country could be what it is today, right? This is a very easy. You don't have to run to a well and pull buckets of water out of it anymore. You got running water all over the place. And it was Americans that dug all of those trenches to run all that water so everybody could have an easier life. It was Americans who, built all the things so you could have a better life. So you don't have to cook in the fireplace anymore. You can go to your cook stove. You can go to a refrigerator. You can go, it was our country who, built a really good military to protect us, you know, from people who would love to destroy this country. It was our people that held that flag up in the air. Let us not forget, held that flag up in the air, and they were, they wasn't only willing to be destroyed, they was destroyed, holding that flag. And that's the only reason that the boats didn't come in, because they felt that there was too many people there. The way that flag kept staying in the air, they felt that there was too many for them to come in and try to destroy us. But it wasn't too many. It was just a lot of very brave men willing to be destroyed. So America wasn't. We better remember things like that and start taking care of our own, instead of, going out here and being against our people, for people who love your country, but they do not love you. You better remember that. They love your country, but they do not love you. They want your country, but they want you to leave. Just saying. And I'm going to tell you something. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm tired of that crap. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of hearing how they love our country, but they don't love us. Well, baby, let me tell you something. This is our country. You're in it, and you need to respect it. And if you don't love us, then what are you doing here? Right? If you don't love us, America is for people wanting to be Americans. It's not for people who want to make America something else. Just saying. Just saying, I ain't trying to step on no toes, but I'm not going to support people who mother freaking want my country, but not me in it. Just that, it is what it is. Americans better wake up. They better wake the hell up. They better smell the roses, before it's too late. Before it's too late. Bunch of bleeding heart people. You can't be, even the Bible tells you to guard your heart. Be smart and guard your heart. Just saying. But anyway, enough of the, like I said, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about our country. I'm talking about how, normal people should think. A lot of people, they got different reasons as to, why they believe the way they believe. It don't make it right. It don't make it right. I'm not going to give up my principles, for any reason. Put it this way, I'm not for sale. Right? I believe righteously, and I'm going to always believe righteously, and I'm going to stand with God, and I'm going to stand with Jesus Christ, and I'm going to stand for what's right. And that's just, that's just how you got to do it. I can't be moved. I can't say, well, one of my family members, married somebody, or they, or this or that, and it's changed my way of thinking. My family member decided to do things that, against my principles before, but now since they did it, if it was against my principles before, it's against my principles now, right? And a lot of people are, a lot of people switching over because they love their family and they got things going on in their family and it's making them change their mind. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot of times. My family's got, trust me, my family's got everything fucking in it. But but I'm not going to play advocate to it. I'm not going to play advocate to the devil, That's my family. How they are is how they are. But I'm not going to play advocate to the devil to please and appease human beings, because the only person I'm interested in pleasing is God Almighty, because I'm trying to make it to heaven, not hell. And, if you can be moved, well, you got to wonder where you're getting moved to. There's only two places. It's only two places. Oh, and I wanted to set something else straight tonight, too. The Middle East. I want to talk about the Middle East for a second. Like the Iranians, for instance, and Israel. The Iranians believe in the Quran. They do not believe that Jesus Christ is our Lord and our Savior. They do not believe that Jesus died on the cross and descended back into heaven and sitting at the right hand of his Father. They do not believe this. I just want to put that out there. Now, Israel, the Israelites, they believe in God Almighty. The Christian Jews believe in Jesus Christ. Those are God's chosen people. It says it right in the Bible. They're his chosen people. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I know that there's some people supporting, Iranians. And, to each their own. To each their own. But, they believe in the Quran. And they do not like Americans. And they are very abusive to women and children. Women and children have no voice when it comes to that particular breed of people. Just saying. A lot of women and a lot of children go through a lot of misery, pain, and suffering at the hands of these people, because they believe that men are the overall power of the world, not women and children. What I'm saying is, with these people, you get set back 1,000 years, as in women's rights and children being protected. So, for certain channels, sucking up to that particular, culture of people, to each their own. But it won't happen over here. It won't happen over here. Just saying. PG don't do that. I don't do that. I don't believe in the Quran. I believe in the Holy Bible. Right? I believe in God Almighty and his son Jesus Christ. I will not deny Jesus Christ before anyone. Jesus is my Lord and my Savior. And I don't waste no words telling people, that's my Lord and my Savior right there. And God Almighty is my Father. The only Father I have at this point. Right? And really, the only true one I've ever had. So, you know, with that being said, I'm not going to defy my God or my Jesus or anybody that doesn't believe in him. Just saying. Yeah, absolutely lovely, London. Absolutely. You know what I'm talking about, girl. You know what I'm talking about. Right here. Right here is what I want to talk about tonight. It says here, it's about finding Summer Wells, not justice for Summer. What? This was on Find Summer Wells, right? This was on the Find Summer Wells. And plainly up here, it says it is about finding Summer Wells, not justice for Summer. We've met too many JS people who have made her an unhealthy idol. Well, Tim Mullins, Robin, Don Candace, I don't know who's really behind this BS right here. But let me tell you something. If any of us was that little girl's parent, right? If any of us was that little girl's mother or father, we would be seeking justice, right? We'd want justice. We would want the person who did something like this to an innocent little child to be pulled in by law enforcement and prosecuted to the fullest extent, right? If not, destroyed themselves by the system, right? We might be saying, hey, we want the penalty put on them, right? The real penalty put on somebody that could do something this evil. We want to make sure they ain't ever get a chance to do something like this again, right? So what the hell does this mean? This looks like it was wrote by a guilty person that doesn't want justice served against people who abuse and destroy children. I mean, if you ask me, it looks like it's written by someone who would abuse and destroy kids, right? I mean, that's the only logical thing I can think of. The only logical thing I can think of is whoever wrote this is a guilty human being that, that wants to go, wants to go free when it comes to topics like abusing and destroying innocent kids. They're afraid to seek justice because that justice might be, being seeked on them, right? I think that's the only way you could write something like this. I mean, I wouldn't write this because I don't abuse or destroy children. But if, if I did, do something like that, well, it's like the kid that stole the cookie out of the cookie jar, right? Say you got 5 kids, right? 4 or 5 kids. And somebody stole the cookie out of the cookie jar when they've been told not to get into the cookie jar, unless they have permission. Because sugar isn't good for the kids' teeth. It's not good to have before dinner because then you don't eat your dinner, right? The healthy food. And parents have rules for a reason. But if you take these kids and you line them up and you ask them what the punishment should be, right? What should the punishment be for, for stealing the cookie out of the cookie jar? Now, the kids that didn't steal the cookie are going to put out some pretty good punishment, right? They're going to be like, oh, I think whoever did that needs to, get a toothbrush and have to scrub the whole floor, right? Oh, I think they should have to spend a whole month in their room. Oh, I think that they shouldn't get no allowance, for like ever. Their allowance for the next 20 years should go towards, buying cookies because they stole one to fill up the cookie jar. Yeah, I mean, these kids are going to give some pretty good punishment, but the one that did it is going to be like, well, I think that the kid should be forgiven because it made a mistake and, and this should all be overlooked. Or maybe, the one that took the cookie should get another cookie. Maybe they should get another cookie because they were hungry when they took that cookie and they might still be hungry now and need another cookie, right? This is what the one that did it's going to be telling you. Maybe you should have a cookie, mommy or daddy, and we can just forget all about what happened with the cookie jar. Because cookies will make you happy. And I can see you're upset over someone stealing that cookie. So there you go. And I think we kind of got the one that took the cookie out, the cookie jar, writing this bullshit. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Because that's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. And if Tim Mullins is actually writing this stuff, if he's the one writing this kind of stuff, that's going to make me more suspicious than I was before about Tim Mullins. This is just going to make me even more suspicious, right? Matter of fact, I might try to reach out and talk with Tim Mullins. I'd like to ask him, why would you write something like this? Why would you do this? If you indeed wrote it, why would you write it? I found it kind of suspicious that Tim Mullins is so on the boys, right? I mean, he's more on getting those boys returned than Don and Candace was themselves, right? I mean, this guy was even looking into schools for, for these boys. Different schools that they could attend that had, special programs and all kinds of things. And I'm kind of like, why would you be so onto trying to have these boys returned? It sounds unnatural for someone that isn't a parent, right? That's my thing. CC, said if you reach out to him, you're not going to get anything but a big long email saying nothing that has every word capitalized. Oh shit. Hmm. Girl. You know, you're probably right. All right, lovely London. Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's too smart. I don't think it'd be much of a battle with Tim Mullins, exchanging, wits. I don't think it would be much of a battle, to be honest with you. I don't, I don't see him as the brightest bulb in the shed, nor the sharpest tool, right? I don't see him as either one. Just saying. And then we got this. Dear sons, thousands are praying for you. God always wins. Trust God always. Well, you're right about that. God does always win, right? God does always win. And he's going to win in all of this too. Don, Candace, Grandis, Tim Mullins. God will win. That is the truth. God will win. We had a lady that said in the comments, she said, we're praying for Summer too. You don't add that, right? You don't add Summer. There's thousands of people praying for little Summer too. You ever notice that they don't talk about Summer much? Do you ever notice that they kind of try to let Summer fade into the background and bring the boys and all kinds of other stuff to the forefront to kind of block Summer out of it all? Like she don't exist. I mean, it says right there, find Summer Wells, but everything on there is about the boys. It's about, Don and Candace. It's about, happy birthday to this boy, happy birthday to that boy, happy birthday to the other boy, happy birthday, happy anniversaries, happy all this shit. But it ain't got nothing to do with Summer. Nothing to do with Summer. But that don't surprise us, right? That don't surprise us. This case is really weird. It's really weird. It's be honest with you. This case is just scary. It's just scary fucking weird, to be perfectly honest with you. This is like a haunting, like a freaking haunting case, right? It's just unbelievable how much tragedy has happened around this case. It's unbelievable, the aura that this case carries. The darkness, the evilness, the bad, the bad juju. This case carries very bad juju, on all kinds of people who go out there and really get themselves involved, with the Wells. Like all these people that go up onto Ben Hill Road, they're not fucking normal anymore. There's something evil has hopped on their asses, and they just can't get their life right. They can't get their life right anymore. It's like this haunting thing that no matter what they do, it's just there, right? It's just there all over them. And no matter how hard they try, this bad just keeps coming their way. And you know, it's just scary fucking weird. It's just scary fucking weird, to say the least. You know, I've seen people run from this case. I've actually seen them run like hell from this case. I've seen people that were out here on YouTube covering like so many cases, right? The West Boys, they were covering, you know, they Quentin Simon, they was, you know, they covered all kinds of cases. And we're doing really great with them cases. But man, when they got on the Summer Wells case, you seen all kinds of weird stuff happening to them, and like it was like, whoa, right? It's like they ain't nothing, like nothing worth going, you know, going through what we saw these people going through. And a lot of them like lickety split it, right? They just like, you know, hiding in the bushes. They're hiding in the bushes from it. And I'm talking about creators. Hiding up in the bushes now. They're like, you know, I mean, they check on, they look in on it once in a while, but they're distancing themselves. They're distancing themselves away from it. And you know, and that's a lot of creators. Not just, you know, not just like remember Molly Golightly? Remember she went down there and oh my gosh, you know, wow. It was horrific. It was horrific seeing what she went through. I was like, damn. And then, you know, Bullhorn Betty. I mean, these people all went down there as a group, right? As a group of bonded supporters, right? For Summer. They were bonded supporters of Summers. And these people were like, you know, bonded with each other. And did you notice how fast they all fell apart? Did anybody notice how quick that group became enemies to one another? Put a 1 in the chat if you took note of that. How fast they tailspinned on one another. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. It was like hard to watch. It was hard to watch how these people, you know, did each other. I was like, damn. You know, what the hell happened there? But yeah. And then they all started having complications and weird stuff happening to them, and you know, and some of them, like I said, some of them slid the hell out, ran away from it. Other ones tried to pick up other cases to get away from the Summer Wells case. There's a lot of creators don't want to cover this case. They don't like to cover it. They, you know, they and those are the ones that actually, you know, went into Tennessee and, you know, and went up on Ben Hill Road, you know, corresponding with these weird people. They were up there corresponding with the Wells, corresponding with the neighbors, corresponding with these people. I'm going to tell you. It's not smart to be corresponding. You know, you ever hear people talk about holy ground? Take your shoes off, Moses. You're on holy ground. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Ben Hill Road ain't holy ground. I think Ben Hill Road should be called Ben Hale Road. Right? It seems like that road is evil. It sounds like it's evil land. Right? It's not, it definitely, that's evil ground right there, buddy. That ground is tainted, if you ask me. And I have seen a lot of good people go batshit fucking cray after being up there. It's like their life took a big fucking turn for the worst. They obviously went up there without protection. I'm going to tell you something, man. You go places like that, you better be taking the Lord with you. You better be taking God Almighty with you. You better be taking some protection with you. You don't go there by yourself. Those are places you do not tread alone. Right. Oh, I appreciate that coupon, Mama. I appreciate it. I'm going to look into it. Molly was having, after the Summer Wells case, Molly was having a lot of really some real serious stuff going on. Matter of fact, our whole channel kind of went down the tubes, right? And it's almost as if these people kind of lose their mind. Like Cam and Allie, like Cher, like Molly O'Lightly, like Doug. I can go on. I can continue to name. And it, yes, I could tell it did affect Justin. It affected Justin. Yeah, it did. And I also took note that that the other girl that you mentioned, Olivia, I also noticed that when she went back up there where the graveyard was, that she didn't really want to be there. Put a 1 in the chat if you felt and took note that she really didn't want to be there. Like she was real fucking hesitant. Like real hesitant, real jittery, real, it's like I'm here, but I don't want to be here. Type of thing. I could see the fear. It was thick. On her, and that tells me that she didn't have a good experience. That tells me she did not have a good experience before. That told me that, some shit from that case hopped on her. It hopped on her. That's what I'm saying. Just saying. Yeah, that I could tell. I don't think it's just a bad vibe. I think she had a lot of shit go wrong after getting in the case, just like Molly, just like, Justin, just like, Cam and Allie, just like Cher, just like Benny Keys, just like all of them, right? All of them. All of them got affected. They all got affected. And, like White Boy. White Boy started fucking around with them, took his ass up there, and look, he ain't had nothing but bad stuff happening since, right? Just bad aura. And like it must elope you. It must elope you. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them went to Quentin Simon's case when they went there. They all went, they all went into Carolina, right? Um or Georgia. Um they all went over there where Quentin was. And the thing is a lot of, I mean, they had a lot of, like Dolly, you know, um, got somebody with a bullhorn or something, he had some dispute going on, and there was a whole lot of yelling and a whole lot of carrying on and everything, right? Out front of Leilani's and Billy Joe's house out there. I mean, it looked like a mess, right? It looked like a mess out there of what was going on. But I'm going to tell you what, none of them was really having any issues. I mean, what little bit Dolly went through, and he got right out of it, right? No problem. He got right out of it and everything. And, you know, Summer's case ain't like that. Summer's case, isn't like that. Um, her case is totally different. It's even Sebastian Rogers' case, right? Sebastian Rogers' case, you had all these people out there running on, and nobody really had any issues, right? No, they wasn't dealing with no issues. They're still not dealing with any issues where Sebastian's case is concerned. But Summer Wells' case, oh man, I'm going to tell you what. I seen that particular case like it made these people batshit freaking cray cray. That it really did. And like on top of a whole lot of other stuff, right? A whole lot. Like these people had their days going good for 20 years, and they met Summer's case, and everything went to hell, right? Everything, it's like it all went to hell. Um, that's what it looked like from where I'm sitting. And I'm pretty damn good at observing things. And I'm like beep 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 beep. You got to back up away from that. You got to back up away from the scary Mary stuff, right? It's just weird. It's just weird. But this case, you know, it has a lot of juju going on in it. And especially for certain people, certain people. And I'm going to tell you about these certain people. They got sucked in. They got sucked in. And one way or another, I noticed they made a deal. They made a deal with the devil. Now, you had a lot of them sign a contract, right? Remember the contract? Tim Mullins wrote it up. Don Wells had these people signing it. Put a one in the chat if you remember the little contract thing that these people were putting their John Henrys on. Oh, I remember it. I said hell to the no. Hell no. I don't sign anything without my attorney overlooking it first. Right? My lawyer don't get to look it over. I don't get into that shit. I don't sign nothing. I'm smart enough. Well, to be honest with you, I know a little bit. I know a little bit more about weird shit than the average person probably would. And I'm going to tell you something. You don't ever want certain people to get your signature. Okay? You see people on the street saying, hey, will you sign? You better keep walking. You better say no. A lot of people, oh, what is it, honey? And you think you're being a good Samaritan. Be damn careful what you're putting your John Henry to. I mean, I don't do that. I don't do that stuff because I know I know when it comes to the world of witchcraft and occults, you just don't do you just don't do certain things. You just don't do certain things because you don't know what you're putting your John Henry on. And these people crawl out from some dark places to get what they want. I mean, put a one. I mean, some of you might be affiliated. You might be affiliated with the underworld, as they call it. You may know some history about it. Maybe from experience with people who do that stuff. Maybe experience of your own. Who knows? But the point being, I know there's more than me in this chat right now that knows what I'm talking about. Put a one in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh. Exactly. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not here to, I'm not here to give no lessons on the dark side. But you better be damn careful when you go talking to folks. Because I want to tell you something. There is an evil world. There's an evil world out here that exists. that a lot of people, vulnerable people, don't know about. I mean, you could be renting your house from one of these mother freakers. They could be your neighbor that you're inviting in your house for coffee, handing money to or help to. I'm going to tell you. I tell you the number one thing to look for when it comes to that shit. If every time you help somebody, something fucking bad seems to happen to you, stop helping them. Okay? Stop helping that person. Because more than likely, they're into some shit you know nothing about. That's the first sign right there. Every time you do something for them, you will have you will have bad shit happen. That's truth. That's truth. Don't take nothing from them. Do not take nothing from them. Man, I'm going to tell you, these people could do some, I know most people don't believe in it. But I've seen some shit with my own eyes. I've seen some stuff with my own eyes that I could not believe. So take it from PG. When I tell you that there's a world out there you want nothing to do with, you need to take it to the bank. You need to believe it. Stay the hell away from it. Stick with God. Stick with God and His Son, Jesus Christ, man. Stay as close to Him as you can get. As close to Him as you can get. That's your only protection. That's the only thing that makes those kind of people turn their ass and run. And I've seen them turn their ass and run too. I have actually watched them turn that ass and run. Yeah. I tell you that right now. Just saying.
I want to keep doing me so I can do my boys. And Summer will always be here with me. No matter what anybody says.
Oh, she's going to do her. She's going to do her and her boys. Summer will always be there. Summer's going to always be there with her, right? And you know what that tells me? If Summer's going to always be there with you, Candace, then she's got to be somewhere in the general area. She's got to be somewhere in the general area. And you got to know where she's at because you said she'll always be with me. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that statement. She has to know where she is and she has to be in the general area if she's going to always be with Candace. Yeah, that's exactly what she's telling us. With that statement right there, Candace is saying, I know exactly where my daughter is, and she's in a general area, and she'll always be here where I know where she's at. That's basically what she's saying. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? Yeah.
And I don't like saying this, and I don't want to say this at all.
Well, then don't, bitch. Right? If you don't want to say it, you don't like saying it, then shut the fuck up. Just shut the hell up. But she ain't got that much brains, right? She ain't got that much brains. She's lacking. She's lacking in that field.
but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
Oh, she's got to put Summer on the side, and she's got to worry about the boys, right? She's got to worry about the boys. She knows where the boys are. She knows that the boys are in Child Protective Services, right? She knows that they're still alive. She knows they're still sitting with people who are taking good care of them. But Summer is supposedly missing. She's supposed to not know where Summer's at all, right? She's supposed to not know where or what happened to her 5-year-old innocent little girl. The one who needs to be found because nobody knows where she's at. Nobody knows what happened to her. So she is the one in the most need of someone searching and finding and looking for her. But Candace is going to put her on the side. She's going to put the one that needs her most on the side, and she's going to focus on the boys. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Because it don't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, right? None whatsoever does that make any fucking sense. If you had a child missing and you had 3 more children that you knew where they are, what child are you going to focus on? Please put it in the chat so we can pop it up here and show Candace who you're going to look for. You tell me what child you're going to focus on. The ones that you know where they are, or the one that is gone and missing and needs to be found. Which one are you going to be looking for? The missing or the ones here? Who are you going to focus your attention on? Which ones are you going to let set to the side? Exactly. Exactly. There you go, Candace. I know you're in the bushes. You always are, and so's your old man. Right there. Summer. The missing child. It won't ever make sense. Exactly. Summer. Summer's first, Candace. Right here. Right here. Listen, Candace, Mrs. No Brain. No fucking brains. Crap for brains. Even the people in this chat, they're telling you your daughter, your missing child would have came first. But you know why your missing child ain't coming first? Because of what you said in the beginning of this video, Candace. Because of what you said in the beginning. You're going to do you, and you're going to do your boys. Because Summer will always be with you. She'll always be with you. Basically what you're telling, and the boys are still here. They're still alive. You're telling us that Summer's not alive, and you know exactly where she is, close somewhere around there. And she'll always be there where you know where she is. Yeah. And I think that somewhere is right over in that cemetery underneath Mr. Timothy Morrison's grave. If you could only get law enforcement to look into it. Maybe they already know. I don't know. Maybe they know. You know. Maybe they know. And they ain't trying to find her. And they're not even trying to find her. You know. There's a lot of weird shit there in Tennessee, especially in that area. You know, you got police officers going up to Jody Sue's house, chasing people off who have a deed to their property. They have a person standing there, and the damn survey lines, the survey lines are up there. The land has been surveyed. It belongs to this man with the deed. But instead of letting him claim his property, they run him off. Law enforcement runs him off. Why? It sounds to me like, this law enforcement, is somehow family to all of these people, everybody knows everybody. You come in there as a stranger, right? You come in there as a stranger and, well, you get treated like one. You get treated like one, even if you got a deed. If you got a deed living next door to, one of these good old boys that's been there forever. And that good old boy wants to say, hey, you can't take over your property because it's next door to me. Oh, and I've been using it. I've been, since it's been for sale, I've had my ass all over it. And I don't want you to take it over. Well, law enforcement just run you on out of there, right? They just run you on out for these good old boys because they know these good old boys and these good old boys know them. And how do we know, how do we know that some of this law enforcement wasn't going up there on Ben Hill Road for other purposes, right? We don't know. We don't know. What we do know is for some fucking reason, they're not following every lead and they're not trying to really solve the case, right? That's what we do know.
Because they're still here, it's still living, and it's still in foster care, and and I don't like saying this, and I don't want to say this at all, but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here, it's still living, and it's still in foster care, and and I don't like saying this, and I don't want to say this at all, but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here, it's still living, and it's still in foster care, and and I don't like saying this, and I don't want to say this at all, but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here, it's still living, and it's still in foster care, and and I don't like saying this.
And look at her. Look at her. The mother of a missing little girl. Look at her. Take a look at this. It's disgusting. Right? This woman's like fucking what, 45, 50 years old? Throwing gang signs. Right? Throwing up her little gang signs. Wearing a fucking ball hat all the time. Like some dude instead of a mother, right? She got this ball cap on all the time, dressing like a mother freaking husky man. If you seen her from the back, you wouldn't know what the hell she was, right? She goes around wanting to hang around with teenagers instead of, adults her own age. She's a real fucking freak, a real fucking weirdo, right? Hey, baby, I'm gonna call it like I see it. This bitch ain't no fucking 16, 17, 18 years old. This mother freaking bitch is like 45 or 50. What the hell is she doing walking around like this? What the hell is she doing, all hate up, all hate the fuck up. Walking around like this. That's what, that's my question. She's sick. She's sick. And like she told Jinkies, Her and Don both. Her and Don both had mother freaking SA charges on them when it came to the children. Her and Don both is what she said. Candace said it to Jinkies. Supposedly, she told White Boy's wife that she doesn't care if Summer's found or not. Sound like a little bit of a threat to Don to me. Right? Sound like a little bit of a threat to Donald and whoever else might be involved. Like, I don't care if they find Summer or not. I don't care if these, if everybody goes down or not. It doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't bother me. I know if I go down, a lot of other people's going down too. So I don't care, right? I'm not going down alone. It sounded like a little bit of a threat to me when I heard she said that. Right? But I believe in calling it like I see it. This woman right here, sick in the head. And her old man, sick in the head. Man, that's not my opinion. I'm not going to even say my opinion because that's the damn truth. It's the truth. When you are 45, if you're motherfucking 30, if you're freaking 30 years old and you're hanging around teenagers, little kids and teenagers wanting to do bad things with little kids and teenagers, there's something wrong with your fucking mind. You're sick. You're sick. And I'm going to tell you something. That's an illness. That is an illness right there that cannot be cured. Okay? People like that cannot be cured. They're just looking for their next victim. Right? They're just looking for their next victim. Like when the one boy got taken away, right? What was his name? Cam or Canyon or whatever. He gets taken away. She goes looking for Hunter. And according to Jinkies, she was having, it wasn't just Hunter and this other boy and so forth and so on. It was her own boys and her daughter in the house, right? I want to tell you something. That's real sick. How can people support people? How could people support SAers? How can you do that? Do you know how many people sent her gifts? Sent her gift cards? Fulfilled her wish list? Hung around with her? Wanted to make this bitch their friend like Dee Dee did? Right. They wanted to fraternize with this devil. How fucking disgusting was that? Don and Candace does not want to fraternize with no damn body unless they have children or they have money. They only fraternize for self-gain. That's it. They want what you got. Your kids or your money. And Candace wanted Dee Dee's money. She wanted her car. She wanted all the things. She didn't want Dee Dee's husband. Oh, she'll take Dee Dee's husband in order to have what Dee Dee had. But she wanted what Dee Dee had. Not her husband, but what she had as in materialistic stuff. Right? Materialistic things. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, and that Kathy, the friend's daughter, was letting Candace sleep in the mother freaking room with her child, right? But then again, that Kathy, the friend, looked like she was the one standing outside of some weird fucking house in the woods where some sinister shit was supposed to be going on, right? Remember those pictures? The weird ass woman standing outside, caught on video. Yeah. Just saying.
I'm not gonna go on YouTube and tell the whole freaking story, what happened, and all that crap. The only people that matter that I told the truth to was law enforcement, TBI, and
I'll bet you did not tell law enforcement, TBI, or any of them the truth. They kept trying to get the truth out of you. But you said, they're interrogating me. They're interrogating me. Benny. Oh, Benny, how I love you, my Benny. Right? What the fuck? That shit often haunts me at night. It often haunts me. You turn that one song on and you fucking just can't, you got to turn it off. You got to turn it off. You don't even hear it the way it's playing on the radio. Right? You hear it the way Candace sung it, and it haunts you. Right? It just haunts you. It's like, what the hell?
all that. That's all that matters. Okay, let's say that I did go out there with law enforcement or whoever.
Yeah, let's say that you did. Let's say that you did go out in the woods with law enforcement when they was looking for Summer because they believed that she wandered off, Candace. They believed that she's 5 years old. They believe she may have wandered off into the woods. Okay, say that you came out instead of talking to Allison and Allison's mother and hiding your ass in the fucking house away from law enforcement while Don was down at Fred's hiding his ass away from law enforcement. Say that you did come out and you went out into the woods. Say you did. Let's say you did.
Was out there searching. What if something happened out there? And she was miraculously found. You know how many people would say, "Oh, Candace knew. Candace did it."
Right. That's exactly right.
Do you know? Do you know how hard it would be for me to, if that's a true factor that she's out there somewhere? How hard it would be for me not to go scoop her up in my arms and give her hugs and love on her.
Right.
And then that would wreck the crime scene.
What crime scene? What fucking crime scene, Candace? Explain to us what crime scene. Because when they was looking for a child that wandered off, there was no crime scene. None whatsoever. No fucking crime scene. So how did that become a crime scene? How did it become a crime scene? I'm going to tell you how. Because your subconscious fucking mind told on your ass because you know what happened to your daughter was a fucking crime. Right? That's how it became a crime scene. You told on your damn self again. So now we know that what happened to Summer was criminal. Right? And that's why your ass covered it up. There you go. There you go. She's the one saying it, not PG. This is what she's fucking saying, right? She's telling on herself in so many damn ways. And I'm telling you what, if I was law enforcement, it wouldn't take much for me to prosecute the shit up out of her. Because everything she's saying incriminates her fucking self, right? And she has done, her and Don Wells have done nothing but incriminated themselves. And I think they've incriminated themselves enough to mother freaking be prosecuted. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. If I was sitting on a jury and I heard this shit, oh, hell yeah, you're guilty, bitch. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Just saying.
Let me tell you a strange story that no one knows. The day that Summer Wells went missing, my wife messaged Candace Wells on Facebook asking her if there's anything that they needed. Pretty common question. I'm not sure in that situation if there'd be such a thing as a common answer. But the response was a 6-pack of Mountain Dew. I found that.
And I found that weird too. And I tell you why. Can we help? Yeah. Yeah, you can help. You can help search for the child, right? I mean, if you was in Don and Candace's shoes, you would be like, you wouldn't even be thinking about no fucking Mountain Dew. For one, you wouldn't even be thinking about no damn Mountain Dew. What you'd be thinking about is these people can get up here and help search. These people can get up here and help set up some grills and set up some tables and set up some, water station and soda station and maybe even some Bud Light station, right? For all of the searchers and start help, grill mother freaking hot dogs and help make sandwiches and help, and I mean, they could go ask restaurants, tell restaurants what's happening up there on that hill and ask if they could donate, if they could donate subs or sandwiches or anything for all these people helping to do the searching. They could have tables full of food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until, this case is solved. I mean, or the child is found. Fuck Mountain Dew, right? You're going to, these people could be passing out flyers. They could be out there riding up and down roads. They could be knocking on doors, handing out flyers and looking behind the people to see maybe if they don't have a child in there. It looks like Summer. I mean, you would be wanting these people to do a lot of things for you. Not sitting there, not only that, but if people are calling me out of the damn blue, then I want to look into them. If the child's truly missing, I want to look into them too. Because do you remember the bus driver who was out there helping search for the very women that he had in his house? Do you remember that? His ass was there. I want law enforcement to look into that, right? Into these people. Because a lot of times, the person who did it is right there trying to help search. Right? So I'm going to tell you something. Don and Candace Wells, nobody else had Summer. Nobody else had Summer. That's my opinion. Nobody else had her. Whatever happened to this little girl, they fucking done it because they wasn't asking for any help. They wasn't asking for nothing. And I'm going to tell you something. If it would have been a true case of someone taking this child for real, oh, let me tell you something. These mother freakers right there, Don and Candace and Grandis, oh, they would have been everywhere. They'd have been everywhere. They'd have been all over the place. They'd have been on law enforcement. They would have been volunteering to take those lie detectors tests. They'd have been volunteering to talk. They'd have been Let me tell you something. It would have been a whole different ball game, a whole different scenery than what we got. What you had right there is 3 motherfuckers hiding the night law enforcement showed up. You had these people hiding. They was hiding all week long. They was telling law enforcement that, you know, they know she ain't out there to try to get them off their heel because they want them to, they used abduction so they could get law enforcement looking somewhere else and not on their property. I mean, they thought, you know, Don Wells was throwing everybody on the bus to keep the focus off of these bastards hiding up there. Grandis hauled ass out of there. I mean, she hauled ass out of there so quick you couldn't keep up with it. And Andy Bernard went right behind her. You know, when you see cowards running and you see people hiding and you see them not doing a damn thing to help find their child, it took them a whole fucking week to even get on the news. Oh, let me tell you something. Because they was trying to get their story straight. Those motherfuckers guilty. That's just my opinion. I'm going to keep it.
God. Second strange encounter that we had around when Summer went missing. Don Wells had came down to my home. I wasn't there yet, but a few of the guys that I work with and my wife were there, and he spoke with them the very next day. And they tell me that his whole conversation was around her being in a better place, her being in a better place, her being in a better place. And they found that odd. Now, once again, we don't know how we'd act in a situation. I'm just giving you some points, giving you some information that I have that no one else has. You can take that for what it's worth, make your own opinions, read into it, don't read into it, whatever. But these are things that we know because of being near the area from local law enforcement, things like that. Number 3 is 2 or 3 nights later on a rainy night, there's some country roads back through that way. You can, there's a back road that you take that comes out there in Kingsport, and it's a traveled road, but it's not traveled a great deal. And the Don and Candace were seen it's about a mile and a half from their house, pulled over on the side of the road, very, very, very country road. Don was behind the wheel. Candace was out, and she was coming out of the wooded area. Now, she had to use the bathroom. I think she probably could have waited to get home. Maybe not. But that was strange, that they were off in a secluded area, at dark, while it's raining, and Candace Wells was seen coming out of the woods about a mile and a half away from their home. Also, another strange thing was, you've seen pictures of how high, the mountain, the hill going up to their house or whatever. Now, at the bottom of the hill, there's like a field. Now, that field's always grown up. But about a week or less before Summer Wells went missing, Don Wells mowed that down. I mean, I say mowed, hacked it down, because it's about chest high with a mower. That's the first and only time that field has ever been mowed. That field sits at the base of that very hill that he come out and said that he feels like someone took her down that hill and then it had to went through that field and off to wherever. Also, the Ranger, black, older model Ford Ranger that was seen in the area, we were told by law enforcement, we turned in that clue. We were told by law enforcement that that truck was there. It was at the end of Ben Hill Road picking up an automotive part. Also, I was told by law enforcement that whether the scent, I've seen several places that say a dog picked up the scent and it ended. I've been told by a fairly credible source that that was not the case. Also, when the FBI came and talked with people in the area, the two questions they wanted to know were, have you seen anything abnormal? Did you see anything abnormal that day or the ordinary? And number two was, what type of people were Candace and Don Wells? These are some strange things that we know from being close to the area where Summer Wells went missing. What do you think about these?
Well, I tell you what I think. I think law enforcement knew right then and there that Don and Candace Wells were number one suspects. I think they knew right then and there that they had their guilty parties. They needed to either prosecute the hell out of them, but couldn't get enough evidence, or they like to prosecute the crap up out of them, but people they know in higher places were clients, and some really bad stuff might come out on a lot of people who don't want it coming out because they were affiliated with Ben Hill Road, right? One or the two. Either law enforcement ain't got enough to solve the case, or they just don't want to solve the case. That's the only two options at this point. But I feel they have more than enough to prosecute. I think there's way more than enough to prosecute right out of Don and Candace's own mouth. I mean, Don and Candace said and literally admitted that they had video footage of people doing bad stuff with children. And they sold one of the videos for $5,000. And nothing was said or done about it. Not one thing was said, nor was one thing done about these two bastards saying that. No charges were filed against them for exploiting their child like that and admitting to it out here in public. Nothing was done to them. Here they are, you know, arresting people because these people have, you know, some stuff on their computer that they shouldn't have. And they take them and put them in prison. But they don't take two people that come out and literally admit that they was allowing this stuff to go on while they video recorded it? They don't put them in prison? Make that, make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me. I don't know. Where was that? Do we know? Oh yeah, I got it. I have it on recording where Don and Candace both, where they both were laughing, and Don Wells was talking about how his boss, they videoed his boss doing bad stuff with Summer and sold the videotape for $5,000 and laughed and laughed and laughed about it. Yeah, sure do. I've played it out here. And I don't understand how they got away with it. I do not understand how they got away with saying that and not getting prosecuted for it. I don't know. I guess in Tennessee, it's okay to do this kind of shit, right? And not get no repercussions. Exactly. I agree. He was talking about Candace. He was talking about Candace going into the woods and seeing coming out. Don was already back in the vehicle. Candace was coming to get in the vehicle. And we all know that Candace, she doesn't pull over to use the bathroom in the light of day, let alone nighttime. And let's remember that she's afraid of the woods, of the bears and the snakes and the lions and the tigers. Oh my. Right? Well, she's so damn afraid. Then what the hell is this? What is this? Looks like pitch dark nighttime in the fucking woods somewhere where water's running. Right? What is this? Even what you're hearing. What is this? Candace is afraid of the woods. She's afraid to be out there at night. No. Candace ain't afraid to be out there at night. She's a fucking night crawler, right? And so is Dawn. Those are a couple of night crawlers. Them dirty ass mother freakers were homeless. These are homeless mother freakers you're talking about. They've been in a lot of dirty places in the motherfucking middle of the night. They're used to being out there. Ravishing around in the dirt. Unbelievable. Them son of bitches ain't afraid of nothing. If they were, I'm going to tell you something about people who are afraid. People who are afraid work a damn job and they keep a roof over their head because they don't want to be out there digging in garbage cans, being exposed to all the elements of the freaking world and the evil that exists in it. Right? Not Don and Candace. They were living in a damn van, homeless as hell, sleeping and eating and doing whatever they could, where they could, how they could, for a long time. Candace was homeless when she met Dawn, right? She was literally sleeping. She was sleeping her way across the United States. She's going from, you know, one back alley to another. No. I want to tell you something about people like Candace Wells and Lisa J and Marlena Crawfords. Let me tell you something about these kind of people. Being raised in a hood, I know all about it. And I'm going to tell you right now, any woman that can sleep herself across the damn United States, right? Picked up by this person and that person, laying around with one man after another. If you're not scared to get your ass in vehicles with tons of different people and go stay in tons of different men's homes and shit that you don't even know, you ain't scared of nothing. You ain't scared of anything if you can do that. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I tell you right now, there ain't nothing on this earth scares your ass if you're able to swing that ass in that many different freaking cars and houses with people you don't know. You ain't ever met a fucking stranger, your ass ain't scared of nothing. That's just how it goes. And I've seen a lot of Dawn or Candace's and Lisa J's and those kind of people. I've seen a lot of Dawn Wells too. Big-headed, goofy mother freakers, you know, walk around in outer fucking space. That's what they do. They walk around in outer space. They're just weird. You know, they don't think right. Their philosophy of life is all fucked up. And there's nothing straight in their head. They're just weird. They're just weirdos. And they love people like Lisa J and Candace's and those kind of, and Marlena Crawfords. They love those kind of people. Laura's, right? They love those kind of women because they can get them women to do anything. They can get them to do anything. Everything's on the table with these kind of women. Ain't nothing that isn't. They're just weird. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, they're all sick. They're all sick. They're all weird. You know, men are dangerous. Every woman knows men are dangerous. If you do not know that person, and even if you do know them, you still don't get in a damn car with them. Right? You still don't get in a car. You don't open your door for them. You know, you don't trust them that much. Because why? Why? Because all women know, well, most of them should know. If they don't know, they should. But most women know that 99.9% of the time, when someone ends up destroyed, they open the door for them, right? Most of the time, the woman opened the door when bad shit happened. They either knew the person or thought they knew the person, and they got, right? 99.9% of the time, the person who unlives you, you knew them. You knowed them. It's just the way it is. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. You usually know the assailant that took your ass out. Just how it is. The kids that she had before, the kids she had prior to, the kids she had prior to her and Dawn, kids, and what happened to them. Tell me all I need to know. Oh, I'll tell you what you need to know. She did have kids. She had 2 kids in Wisconsin. They got both took. The little boy cannot ever live a normal life again. The girl, she's not going to live a normal life for being shuffled through the system. But her brother is even more messed up than she is because he was severely abused. Also, she had another child. She had another child in Arkansas. She was pregnant. That's why Pam Wells and Don Wells took her in. They were running some SA crap with children on their property. They had a bunch of girls like Candace on their property. Actually, Lisa J was one of them who had a little boy. Her little boy got took along with other children off of Don Wells and Pam's property because they were being SA'd. They brought Candace there because she was about to have a kid that they felt they could use just like they used Lisa J's child and other children as well. And what happened was when Candace went to hospital to have her baby, it was addicted to illegal substances, to my understanding. And Child Protective Services swooped in and took it away from her immediately. Thank God for that. Then she got with Don Wells. She went back to Pam's house after having a baby that she was not allowed to have because it got took. She went back there to get on her feet. And while she's back there getting on her feet, she starts messing around with Donald. And that's when law enforcement came in and busted the place for children being SA'd, and Child Protective Services removed all the kids, Lisa J's child as well. This is what Lisa J said. This is out of Lisa J's own mouth. Her own child was taken from Pam and Don Wells' property. She was living in a garage with other people, homeless women and stuff, who had children as well. These kids all got taken out of there. That's when Don took off with Candace and they became homeless in that van. And then they were living homeless for a long time, and that's when Candace became pregnant with her oldest boy, with her and Don. The oldest boy was born in Arkansas, not Tennessee. And then Don got a hold of his mother, and his mother was ill, and he promised to come there and help take care of her and fix her house and do a bunch of stuff. But when he got there, all he did was make her as miserable as he made those 4 children and his other 2 children that he had prior up in Utah. Because that's what they do. They make people fucking miserable. Anything else you'd like to know? Just ask. Because there's a whole fucking list of shit when it comes to Don and Candace and Grandis and a whole, like Grandis, she just has a husband and a house full of kids, moves them from one state to another state, and then she leaves her husband sitting there with all the kids. Well, she takes her ass off and goes, marries up with a woman or a girlfriend or whatever the hell she did. But she left her kids in the dust. She left her husband in the dust. She left everything in the dust because she's a self-centered, self-seeking fucking weirdo, right? All of a sudden, you know, she decided that she liked trying to get people to lick past her smell instead of sticking it past that smell. Whole lot, you know, like fucking mother like daughter, I guess. Why can't Grandis be around kids? I would think the obvious. I would think she can't be around kids because she's a big freaking weirdo. I mean, her brother's an essayer, right? Her brother was in prison for essaying children, right? So I guess, you know, must run in the family. Must run in the family, you know. I do know that the old hag went and started, you know, torturing that little that oldest girl of Candace's, the one that got shuffled. She, you know, Grandis didn't want to take Candace's daughter in and the little boy who couldn't live a normal life no more. She didn't want to settle down and take those kids in and raise them. But after they got grown, she wanted to chase the oldest girl around and try to get close to the oldest girl had to threaten, or did put charges against her, right? And I get a restraining order. I guess she was going to the girls where the girl was working and her school and or whatever. She was really harassing this little girl to, you know, to allegedly, from what I'm hearing, she was really harassing the little girl. And they had to get a restraining order or something against her. And I know that Rose's children, she's not allowed to see them. She's not allowed to go anywhere near those children as well. You know, and I don't think she was supposed to be up on the hill either. And I do know that Child Protective Services would not let her correspond with the boys. She was, when Candace and Donald was allowed to correspond with the boys, Grandis was not. She was not allowed to sit in. She was not allowed to have nothing to do with the boy. And usually they allow grandparents' rights, right? Grandparents have rights, especially, you know, seeing that Grandis was up on the hill, you know, with these kids practically from day one, you know, all those years up there with them. Usually they allow grandparents' rights. But she didn't get none. She got no grandparents' rights whatsoever. I do know that. And Child Protective Services plainly stated to Don and Candace that Candace could not participate in, you know, in the video calls or anything. And I know that for a fact because I heard the caseworker, you know, telling Candace and Don that. Personally heard the caseworker saying it. I sure did. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. There should be a petition against Candace. There should be a petition against Candace and Dawn. There should be one taken up to prosecute them. Because I truly feel there is enough evidence to prosecute upon, and they're not using it. That's just my opinion. Law enforcement is not using it. I mean, in a court of law, they could say, law enforcement could have actually arrested Dawn and Candace when they kept telling them, Summer's not out there. She's not out there. Summer's not in those woods. She's not in those woods. They could have literally arrested them right then and there. They could have said, look, if we're arresting you because if you can tell us where your daughter isn't, then you got to know where she is. You have to know where she is. So you're under arrest in suspicion of whatever happened to your daughter. And they could have took them downtown, and they could have, and they could have had they could have interrogated them. They had every right to interrogate the fucking hell out of them after they made that statement that, telling them where Summer wasn't. They could have used that to their advantage, and they didn't. They did not use it. And they messed up the crime scene. They came up on that hill. They destroyed that case before it even got started. They destroyed everything. I mean, Ronnie Lawson, really dropped the fucking ball on Summer's case. Everybody should have been took off that hill. The hill should have been roped off. It should have been roped off until the freaking feds came in, until, people who knew, forensics and the feds came in knowing what the hell they're doing. Everybody should have been removed. Dawn, Candace, and Grandis should have been took downtown. Child Protective Services should have been called, and caseworkers should have showed up at the law office with each one of the children to be questioned, in separate rooms. Hunter should have been picked up. Hunter should have been picked up immediately and took in for questioning. Whether Allison liked it or not, he should have been took in for questioning. They should have broke these people down. They should have gotten the truth the first fucking 24 hours. They should have had all the truth they needed to prosecute this case up. But they did it all wrong. They did everything wrong. If they thought this Summer might have been in the woods, they should have entered the woods off of Ben Hill and Beach Creek, not off the hill. No one should have been on the hill. Everyone should have been removed from the hill, and the hill should have been a crime scene until further notice. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I just don't think this law enforcement is that fucking stupid. I don't think they're so damn stupid that they would leave these people up there destroying everything that might need to be had if this kid wasn't in the woods. Right? Because Ronnie Lawson, plainly said, abduction, there is no signs of an abduction whatsoever. I mean, immediately, he's like, there ain't no fucking abduction happened up here. So he knew to check that off the list right then and there. And the only thing left was wandering off and foul play. Right? And foul play. And you don't mess a whole crime scene up. You don't mess the foul play up by doing wandering off. You do wandering off from Beach Creek and freaking Ben Hill, and not on the hill. You wrote on the hill completely off for forensics, because that is a crime scene. And you need to go over that place with a fine-tooth fucking comb to understand why foul play would be in question. Yeah. I just don't think that anybody could be that dumb. I don't know. Just saying. Well, at the time, maybe Ronnie didn't want the truth coming out about Summer, and, about the Wells and what the Wells do and did. Maybe he didn't want the dirt that was going on up there coming out, and the case getting solved right at the time his son is being prosecuted for the same, shit that we believe was going on Ben Hill Road, right? Maybe that's why this case didn't get solved. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But it makes perfect sense. I mean, you got a kid being prosecuted for exactly what was going on up there on that damn road, kids being sedated and touched and all the stuff. And you got a son getting ready to be prosecuted for all of that. How could you prosecute Summer's case and put these people in prison, for life, and throw away a key, and then do what he did with his son? Let him out in like 2 days, right? How can you do that? He might have got a lot worse. He might have got a lot worse feedback. He may have gotten people might have been, up in arms over all of this. You don't know. I mean, with Summer's case being a distraction and his son getting prosecuted, he could pretty much, get his son a couple of days and back home for what he done. But I'm going to tell you what, it sounds like no child is safe in that surrounding area. Right? I mean, they give Tennessee a bad name. Ben Hill Road, Hawkins County, they give Tennessee a really bad name. So, actually, Southern County gives Tennessee a bad name too. There's a few of those counties, those little counties, that give, the rest of Tennessee, because there's some really nice places in Tennessee. There's some really nice homes, some really nice areas, some very safe areas to raise your children in Tennessee. Not those areas, but there is some beautiful places nestled away, that's very safe. Very good people. They're not all fucked up like that. But because of, because of places like that, you think all of Tennessee is crap. And I'm going to tell you, that drives the home market down. That drives the value of people's homes down. It's not good for real estate. It's not good for real estate. This right here isn't good for real estate in Tennessee. Just saying. Yeah, Carly Trent was found alive. And, Ronnie Lawson didn't care about anybody getting lost in the fucking woods when they was looking for Carly. Right? He was calling everybody, anybody wanted to search for Carly. He was calling to the table. Get your horse, get your wagon, get your motorcycles, get your four-wheel drives, get everything. Everybody look for Carly. He wouldn't care who got lost in the woods. But with Summer, he had a hand-picked few, and no one else was welcomed. Make that fucking make sense. Put a 1 in the chat if you didn't find that shit fucking weird. Oh, you got that right. You got that right, Crimes. Absolutely. You got that right. Yeah. Carl, and here's the thing, is they knew who Carly Trent was with. She was with some weird fucking uncle that went and picked her, some weird uncle she had been living with prior to going back to her biological family. And he was the one that went to the school and signed her out. So they knew who she was with. And they still let everybody and anybody look for her. But not Summer. Right? And there isn't a new sheriff yet. There isn't a new sheriff yet. They're running for sheriff. But I don't think the new sheriff has been picked yet. I think the new sheriff, the one that they want to win, or I don't keep up with their politics over there, and that is politics because they vote the sheriff in and out and whatever. But it's a funny thing because the one that Ronnie Lawson wants to win is a real close buddy to him that even goes to his church, right? They go to church together, and it's a guy that's already in the department that has been affiliated with these people. And and their creepy ways. You know, I just don't think he would be a good sheriff. I don't think he, you know, what I'm saying is he's not, him becoming sheriff is going to be just like Ronnie being sheriff. It's going to be just like Lawson being sheriff. And nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change with this. And this dude looks like he ate 100 donuts a day. Just saying. That's my opinion. I am allowed to have it. He looked like he ate too many fucking donuts. He don't look like he'd be able to run and catch a fucking criminal. I think a sheriff should be fed enough to run and catch a criminal. Right? You mother freaking look like, you know, you need Weight Watchers and you couldn't catch a criminal if you wanted to. Your fucking ass shouldn't be sheriff. That's just my opinion. I'll keep it. Yes, there is more than one on the ballot. I understand that there's a couple of them running for sure. Actually, I think there's one that's outside of that department. I mean, they're not affiliated with it that's trying to run. And there's one inside the department. That's the one that, you know, that looks like he had too many donuts, you know, not enough exercise. Just saying. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. The truth is the truth. I mean, you got a spare fucking tire and it looks like one that came off of a truck. What more can a person say? Oh, yeah. I appreciate you reminding me of that, Miss Justice, because I got onto everything else and forgot about that. But word is, yeah, through the grapevine, word is, Don ain't been feeling good. He ain't been feeling good. Are you feeling good, Don? I heard you've been sick. I heard you've been sick, buddy. I heard you ain't been feeling well. Might want to see a doctor. I heard that you ain't doing so great. Right? Yeah, that's what I heard. That's word. That's word I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Don Wells is not been feeling too good. Just saying. I mean, that ain't surprising to me. That's not surprising to me. I figured he might be next, right? I kind of thought he's going to be next. So this ain't surprising to me. I have no idea. I do not know. I have no idea what symptoms, you know. I have no idea what it is. Just saying. You know, I don't know if it's the flu. I don't know if, you know, if it's flu-like symptoms. I don't know, you know. I don't know if it's a DD thing. I have no idea. All I can tell you is, I'm hearing, this is what I'm hearing. He might not be feeling so great. You know, I mean, I didn't, you know, I'm not sending him a get well card or anything like that, you know, like I'm not up there knocking on the door with the, you know, with a little doctor bag. Stick out your fucking tongue. Let me look in your ears. Oh, what big eyeballs you have. Hell no. Not PG. Not PG. No way in hell. I'm gonna keep my doctoring skills for people that don't have bad juju. Right? I don't know what the fuck to do for bad juju. So, you know, I just, at that point, I got to stay away from it. But, you know, after what happened to Dee Dee, if Don is feeling bad, if he's got issues, he needs to take it to a doctor. But I heard that he won't, because he don't have no insurance, right? He ain't got no insurance. But I will tell you this. If something happens to Don, Candace knows, like Fred, like Fred had control over Dee Dee. Candace knows she has control over Don. Don better remember, Candace is his wife. She has all control if something happens to him. She can say, she can turn down, with Don being the age he is, she can turn down an autopsy. She could say, no, I don't want an autopsy. She could go ahead and get him cremated, right? And she doesn't have to tell no one that Don passed away until he's cremated. Just like Fred said no autopsy, and he cremated Dee Dee, and no one knew until she was cremated. That they have that control. They have that control. So, if Don's feeling under the weather, like Dee Dee was, I just say he needs to go to a doctor. He needs to go get checked. He needs to also mention to the doctor, and he might want to throw Candace out and see if he's, throw her out and see if he starts feeling better, instead of keeping her around. That's where Dee Dee made her mistake. Dee Dee would go to the doctor, right? She would go to the doctor, and then she let Candace back around. And when she let Candace back around, she got sick again, right? Up until she just, wasn't here to get sick no more. And Candace sitting there getting her no help as she died. But, he might want to put her out. And if he starts getting better, keep her out. If Dee Dee would have kept, the first time Dee Dee went to the hospital after having Candace around, sick, not understanding why she's sick, but she's sick. If she'd have got rid of Candace then and had nothing else to do with Candace, she'd probably still be alive now. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I think Dee Dee'd still be here if she'd have just got rid of Candace altogether the first time she made it in and out of the hospital. That's just my opinion. Yeah, But does it surprise me that Don's under the weather now? No, because I figured that one. I figured at some point, this was going to happen to him. Actually, Candace said at some point it was going to happen to him. So, she foretold it herself, right? Out of her own mouth. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all, you guys. But anyway, PG's going to get off of here. I've been in here for for a little while, and I appreciate all of you guys, all of you being here. But as you know, I got a little one, right? I got a little one that I got to go take care of, and the baby's uncle was good enough to watch the baby a little while tonight. He's keeping an eye on my baby so that I could be in here and doing this. And the other night he was helping out too. He's so good. He's so good at helping out with the kids. And the other night when I was in here, he brought the baby in. He brought the baby into my office. He's like, it's awake. It's awake. You know, need him fed. He don't do all of that. He just, you know, he'll watch over it if it's sleeping. But as soon as it wakes up, I've been waiting for him to fly through the door with the baby, you know, tonight. But obviously my baby, you know, is giving me a couple hours break. And which is beautiful, because usually I don't get this long of a break before the baby needs, you know, diapered and fed and everything. Usually on about every 2 hours. You know, I get lucky if I get, you know, more than 3 hours break at a time. That's asking for a lot. But tonight I must have got a little bit more luckier. So, but I got to get back to my baby. And, but I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me and, you know, talking about Summer's case. I miss being in here, but I don't get much sleep, you guys. I'm really, really tired most of the time. And, like last night, I wanted to come in, but I was just too tired. I was worn out. And that's what babies, newborns will do to you, right? They'll keep you really tired. And that's okay. It's a good kind of tired. And it won't last. It don't last, you know. I don't know if I'm trying to convince you guys or myself that this ain't gonna last long, right? Staying up all night and all day. But yeah, I got to get back to the little one and take care of it. But I sure appreciate the uncle, and I know he's probably listening, because he listens. If he can't be in my office sitting behind me, he'll listen. But I really appreciate all the help that, you know, that him and my husband and my kids, the support and the help that they give me is so appreciated. And the support and help that you guys give me. There's a lot of you guys on Facebook, you know, that's gives me a lot of good advice, you know. A lot of stuff I forgot, you know, and so forth. That you guys, you know, hit me up and say, oh, hey, PG, you know, you could try this or you could try that, and, you know, and so forth. And I appreciate it. You don't know how much I appreciate you guys', you know, help. It's been a while since I've had a little one like that. So there was one lady was telling me about Tell, you know, they had a sale on Tell warmers, you know, and that was a funny thing because with it being, you know, so cold right now and everything, you know, you try to, you know, keep your house warm and everything, but you kind of worry, you know, when you wash the baby down and stuff, you know, and I thought it would be wonderful to have a towel warmer, you know, a warm towel to dry the baby up with. And so I'm definitely looking into getting one of those. And it's just things like that, you know, things like that um that helps a parent out like that. And you know, and sometimes, you know, if the house is kind of chilly, that tail warmer would come in real handy to put, like, maybe the receiving blanket, right? The receiving blanket to warm it up a little bit, to, you know, to put over the baby to help, you know, to help keep the chill away. So yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful for that. I'm going to tell you, I raised boys, and boys are like a bull, you know, bull in a china store, right? There's something different. You know, like, they like to play baseball and football and basketball, and no matter how many times you tell them, you know, not to be doing it in the house, you're all, you know, from time to time you still hear that crash where they just broke something. And you know, and they like to take everything apart and then try to fix it. Try is the word, to fix it. Usually they can't put it back together and it's just broke. Boys can be a handful, but girls, oh, I'm going to tell you, little girls are great until they get old enough, just, you know, start changing your kitchen around, and, you know, like, they're great until they start wanting to help, right? And then it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's, girls can be, I've got one daughter, and I'm kind of glad I got another boy. Right? I'm kind of glad I got a boy. If I would have had another daughter, I don't know. It might have scared me. I mean, my daughter is a handful. My boy's Mr. Fix-It, he's a little bit of a handful. But my daughter is a real handful, honey. Let me tell you. I don't even know. That child keeps my blood pressure up. She really does. She's something different. I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love my daughter to death. And I think every woman should have a daughter. You know, I think mothers are closer to their daughter. To be honest with you, your sons, you know, you love your sons, you care about your sons, but you know, there's just a different bond. There's a different bond to your daughter. You know, you and your daughter have a lot in common. You know, the makeup, the clothes, you know, it's just, you know, they want to watch the stuff you want to watch and talk about the stuff you want to talk about. And, you know, boys ain't so much like that. So, don't get me wrong. I love my daughter. I wouldn't trade her for the world, but would I want another one? I don't know. I don't think so. I just don't think so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My daughter was definitely a daddy's girl. She was definitely, you know, um, she's still heartbroken. She's still heartbroken about, her dad passing away. But she was very much a daddy's girl. That's true. That's true. She's a mommy's girl too, though. She's a mommy's girl too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Summer's Army, for always being there for Summer Moon. Absolutely. Our bucket list has holes. I appreciate you. I appreciate you putting that out. We do appreciate you. Each and every one of you are a voice for the voiceless. And we appreciate that more than words can ever tell you. I can't, I don't even know how to express the gratitude for all of you being here. Absolutely. God bless you. God bless you. All right, you guys. PG's going to head out. Please send up the hearts for the missing children as we go out of here tonight. I think all children go to heaven. That's my opinion. I believe all children go to heaven. And I believe, just like the rich man was able to look down or the Lazarus was able to look down at the rich man in hell. I truly believe that these kids are able to look down and see the love and the support for them on this earth. Something they didn't have before they went missing, a lot of them, right? A lot of these kids didn't have that love and support. I know Summer didn't. She didn't have the love and support on this earth that this little girl should have had. And I just believe that God lets these children look down here and see all the love and support they got now. It's too bad that these kids didn't know us before all of that bad happened to them. Because if they'd have knew us before all this happened to them, it wouldn't have happened. We would have been there demanding that our tax dollars going into CPS be allocated in the right direction. And that's getting these kids out of there and getting them the help they need before something like this happened. But I truly believe God is letting these children know that we're here for them now. And we're fighting every single day to get them found and to get justice served on their behalf. So as we go out of here, throw that support up for them and hit that like button, not for me, for the missing children. Hit that like button for the missing children. Let them know how much you care. Good night, everybody. God bless and much love. Keep them prayers going up for these babies and keep them going up for one another. And know that PG's always praying for you. Good night.